Hi, welcome to the Record Shelf. When I was 15, I was living in Sydney, Australia, and it was not so easy to come upon great performers visiting Australia regularly in those days. So it was very big news when Leonard Bernstein was to bring the New York Philharmonic for an appearance at the Sydney Opera House. And needless to say, I bought a ticket immediately and went and witnessed a really, really great concert. And the highlight of the performance, and the one that still remains indelible in my mind, is a performance of the Tchaikovsky Sixth Symphony, the Pathetique. The way Bernstein threw himself into the performance, the intensity that he exuded, the passion he exuded, and the very, very committed performance of the New York Philharmonic really was something unforgettable. And so I set out to find a recording that I thought it was able to duplicate that live concert experience. And 35 years later, I remain convinced that one of the greatest Pathetique symphony recordings was done by Igor Markevtich and the London Symphony in a recording that dates to, I think, 1962. It's a very powerful performance, and after hearing dozens of recordings, I find it still just as compelling as the first time I heard it. And London Symphony plays with great passion, and even more importantly, with great precision and the sense of power and the passion. I mean, first of all, the string sound is very rich and very warm. And sometimes when a performance gets very intense and perhaps overwrought, the ensemble can suffer. The precision of the attacks and the entrance and the unanimity of the musicians can be affected by the spirit of the moment passion. But in this recording, it really combines the best of both worlds in that it is very precise, it is beautifully executed, and yet the playing is utterly committed, passionate, and once more very powerful. You can imagine that I'm a orchestra musician buff, and I try to imagine the likes of Neville Marriner in the orchestra, Barry Tuckwell, Gervais Depire, very likely playing in that session back in 1962. And the recording's first rate by Philips, and I'm holding up a compilation CD, reissued by Philips, of Tchaikovsky Symphonies number 4, 5, and 6. And number 5 and number 4 are really wonderful performances, but it's the 6th one that is really, for me, something very special. And of course, this is a very nondescript cover with London Symphony and Markevitch in tiny letters that you can barely discern. And I don't know why they're trying to hide this performance, because this is something Philips should be very proud of. Look, if you want to just hear a sample of powerful orchestra playing, just listen to the third movement, the scherzo. The march is, for me, perfectly paced. The lightness and the precision of the winds and the strings is just fantastic. And then, of course, when the huge return comes at the end, the slightly slowing down and then speeding up back into regular tempo is perfectly gauged by Markevitch. And then, of course, with the brass and timpani blasting, radiantly at the end is fantastic. And the last 4 notes, ba 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 bam, at the end of the scherzo, the timpani is about as powerful as I've ever heard. And some people might argue, perhaps that's not good taste, but I don't care, because I think that what makes the performance really spontaneous and exciting. And then, of course, the gut-wrenching 4th movement, for me, it's very beautifully rendered by the London Symphony, and you can't help but being moved. And in the 4th Symphony, by the way, I think in that recording with Markevitch, I can detect James Galway's sound as playing first flute. Not 100% sure, but Galway has that very distinct sound. You can recognize just about anywhere, and I know he was a member of the London Symphony for a while before going on to the Berlin Philharmonic and launch his huge solo career. Anyway, so I recommend the Tchaikovsky Sixth Symphony, or any of the 4, 5, and 6 symphonies of Tchaikovsky as performed by Igor Markevitch conducting the London Symphony. Thank you for watching.